Situated in the city of Lemoore, with its population of 25,000, St. Peter, Prince of Apostles, is the second oldest church in Kings County. Though it was founded in 1912, the parish today proudly gathers in one of the newest church buildings in the entire diocese. In small communities like Lemoore, meeting the ministry needs of nearly 1,700 families can be particularly challenging. Joe Biangone, who has served as deacon here since his ordination 7 years ago, says that these challenges are being met here in part through the generous service of dedicated parish volunteers. Deacon Joe, you and your wife Carol moved here about 16 years ago. What is it about the community of Lemoore and the local parish that you find most important?
Lemoore was similar to the community we came from. It was small. The parish is diverse and it reflects the community as far as the ethnic groups that are in this community of Lemoore. Most of them are in the parish too.
Now, I heard you were invited by your pastor to become a deacon and to minister here at your parish. How did that come about briefly?
Well, when I came here, Father Eric Swearingen had been appointed pastor here, and the New Wine program came up, and he said that I should apply for that. And afterwards, I applied for the diaconate through his urging.
What ministries are you exercising now as a deacon, Joe?
You know, I have all the faculties that all the other deacons have in the diocese, plus I'm assistant administrator, business manager for the office. I run the baptism prep class and lectors and Eucharistic ministers and the charity fund for the parish. I
see you're busy, but I also heard this other thing, that this parish, even more than other parishes, depends on its generous parishioners.
We have volunteers doing everything that is possible to do by a volunteer, from cleaning offices to cleaning the church. We have volunteer groups clean this place. We have guys like Dan, who's a deacon candidate, does a lot of the maintenance work here. Anything that we can do without having to bring in outside contractors, we do with volunteers.
Now, another thing you do that's really inspiring is your 24-hour adoration.
Yes.
How significant is that to the life of the parish?
It's raised people's awareness in the importance of Christ in our life. I'm sure it's been a help for the parish. You know, we don't really have many problems here, and I'm sure that's part of it.
You have a counseling ministry that monthly serves the community. How does that work?
We have a licensed counselor who comes in once a month or more if needed. We schedule persons for that counselor who need her service, and she will provide that counseling for them, and if they need further counseling, she will pick them up again at a later month.
Now, there are in our beautiful diocese about 19 elementary schools. What is it that makes Mary Immaculate Queen so special to your parish?
We have Carmelite Sisters here. We have 5 of the sisters from India who have been here since 1992. Prior to that, we had nuns from Ireland, Sisters of Mercy from Ireland. And I think that's a great factor in our school.
Your parish is also one of those 6 parishes that is a site for teleconferencing with New Wine and Vino Nuevo classes. How did that come about, and how important is that for your parish?
You know, we thought we could see this thing as being something for the future. And it's a convenience for people in this area who don't or can't travel to Fresno or some other place for classes. and we decided to invest in the equipment that we needed, and it's paid off.
In conclusion, is there something you really did want to help us appreciate about the heart of your parish, its mission, its commitment, its faith community?
Part of our parish mission statement says that we draw people in for a celebration of God's love. And we try to do that, of course, through the Eucharist, through the rest of the sacraments ministry, and this is a great, great place for volunteerism. Without it, we would be lost.
I want to thank you, Joe, for sharing the beauty of St. Peter, Prince of Apostles Parish in Lemoore. And we'll be visiting later with Phyllis, who's going to tell us more about the building project that brought you this magnificent sanctuary. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The construction of St. Peter's new church building was completed in 2011, nearly coinciding with the 100th anniversary of the establishment of the parish. Volunteers like Phyllis Machado played an essential role in shepherding the project from the beginning. An active parishioner for 50 years, she selfishly devoted 15 years of volunteer service as a charter member of the parish's building committee. Phyllis, what could you tell us about the history of St. Peter, Prince of Apostles Parish, briefly, and how this beautiful sanctuary that we're in came to be?
Well, in 1909, the first Mass was celebrated in Lemoore, but it was celebrated at a home because there were no churches available at that time. So they would have the celebration 4 times a year, and it would either be in a home or a hall or a store or even the opera house. But in 1912, St. Peter's Church was built on Follette Street, and then we started having regular Masses. So the church is actually over 100 years old.
Was it quite small, I suppose?
At the end of its life, it held 350 people.
Now, there was a need for a bigger church. How did that all start, that process?
Well, our church, the population of our church expanded rapidly, and we had several Masses to accommodate everybody. We still didn't have enough room. So in 1994, Monsignor Ofrio built, he put together a building committee, a new church building committee that was to work on plans for a new church. And in 1995, we started campaigns so that we can raise the funds to build the church.
What kind of a committee was that, Phyllis?
The committee was about 12. Some came and went, but there are several of us that have been on the committee since 1994. And they were a diverse group of ethnicities, and we had teachers, we had educators, we had farmers, different people in the group, contractors. So we had a number of people that could give us their input.
How did it evolve to the building that we're celebrating today?
4 pastors, 4 different plans, and 4 campaigns later, we have what we have today, a beautiful church.
And what would be for you some of the main features?
Well, our church is made of a steel structure with concrete floors to appear as though they were stone. We have beautiful, beautiful windows that were built over 100 years ago in New York, and they came to us from Escanaba, Michigan. We have a beautiful dome that each pastor that worked on their plans kept that dome in place because it was special to Monsignor Ofrio, John Ofrio. It was in his heart that it have a dome. We have solid oak pews with cushioned seats to help with the acoustics and for comfort.
I've heard something about there's no nails in this whole structure.
It is of a steel structure. There are no nails in this church, only screws.
But the most important feature, and you're going to tell us why, is the Holy Family Chapel. Why is that the heart of the whole building?
The Holy Family Chapel contains all of our treasures of our old church. Some of our longtime parishioners, when we were making plans to build, were resistant to move because they were afraid they'd lose their memories. So the building committee assured them that we would carry over all of the inside of the church, the old St. Peter's Church, so that it'd be a mini St. Peter's Church.
What are some of those features?
So all the statues, the stained glass windows in the chapel are from the old church. The altar, the crucifix and reredos in the altar area, the baptismal.
And that's the one that you said you would have had your own babies baptized at?
Correct. All my children were baptized in the baptismal.
And so many of the parishioners, I suppose, would identify with this chapel as their church.
Oh, yes. They were just so excited. In fact, many of our parishioners that had moved away, when they returned, I personally saw them come into the church and have tears in their eyes, so excited to see that it did appear to resemble our old St. Peter's Church.
How do you thank the people for all that they have contributed over the years, Phyllis?
We have a couple of walls that we're installing right now. One is a memorial wall that people have pledged for, different amounts, in honor of their loved ones. And the other wall that will be installed shortly will list everyone that has contributed to the building of the church since 1994. There are over 1,200 names on it.
Well, I want to say in conclusion, Phyllis, it's been a pleasure meeting your parish, seeing this magnificent sanctuary, and knowing the faith of this community, which has brought itself, as it says in Matthew's Gospel, the scribe who can bring from his storehouse the old and the new. You've done it beautifully at St. Peter, Prince of Apostles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Parish Profiles. Please join us again next time as we continue to showcase the richness and diversity of parish life here in the Diocese of Fresno.
If your parish has a great story to share, we'd like to hear from you. Visit us at knxt.tv/profiles and tell us more. You may be featured in a future episode of KNXT's Parish Profiles.